So look, there has been a development in Burkina Faso that look, those Africans who are in the diaspora and want to come back in Africa, they are welcomed in Burkina Faso. 1,000 of them, they are being welcomed in Burkina Faso. Come to Burkina Faso, bring your money, bring your expertise, we give you land and we welcome you to Mother Africa. So these are some of the things that Joshua Maponga is talking about, applauding what Traoré is doing, applauding what leaders like Duma Boko of Botswana is doing. So we as Africans should embrace this and we should be talking about this. Now, before I go further, let's have a look at what Maponga is speaking about Africa passionately. Okay, speaking passionately about Africa. Then when we come back, we will analyze this video further.
What are your hopes, Bishop, for the continent of Africa?
My hope is you. My hope is you, young people. Because as long as we have the same narrative and style of thinking, even if you get into power, you do what your leaders are doing, if not worse. We needed a new software so that we can be able to control the hardware. We needed a new way of thinking so that we can change the institutions of power. Because these institutions of power were not built for us, with us in mind. They were built to maintain the multinational looting of resources out of the country. And until our young people can begin to know where to protest. I'm glad when I hear presidents such as Boko, they're beginning to talk my language. You know, guys in Zimbabwe, Kazambi, they're talking. And I look at Hakainde, picking some of the principles that I've been espousing for the past 20 years. And now when I hear Ibrahim Traoré implementing the farmers of thought road to one Africa agenda, even to go and extend that in next month, we're actually going with Chombori and PLO Lumumba. The 1,000 Americans have been given permanent residence in Burkina Faso.
Oh.
So we're going to be welcoming them into Burkina Faso. He is the president. Now look at this. You have these doctors. You have these technicians, IT specialists, media gurus, financial mongols who are black, who want to come back home. They have their money, they have their education, they have their resources, and they have their experience. All you do as a country is to give them a piece of land and say you can start building your houses here. These are proper legal immigrants who are returning home, and they bring with them the necessary skills. My advice to Traoré when I go to see him next month is profile all of these people that have come, attach them to various ministries, and pull out the juice of their intellect, as the Western world is also doing on us. All our most educated and experienced young people. Every country, the Rhodes Foundation. Ask me what its business is. The Rhodes Foundation. Ask me what is their business. The Rhodes Foundation. It is to harvest the best of what South Africa has and ship it away. And we end up being ruled by fools.
So even though Africa as a continent is punching below her weight, there are good things that are happening in Africa. To be honest, there are good things that are happening in Africa. That being said, it means that we have good leaders, we have good presidents who are trying as much as possible to catapult this continent to another level as far as development is concerned. From the northern part of Africa to the southern part of Africa, we have the west and the eastern part of Africa. Good things are happening in Africa. So we have leaders who we can applaud for the good thing that they are doing in Africa. Just have a look at President Duma Boko of Burkina Faso, doing amazing stuffs in Burkina Faso. And most of these leaders who are making impact in Africa and who we are recognized as being good leaders in Africa, most of them are young leaders. Because if you take a geographical look of Africa, 90% of African leaders are old, but they are doing nothing, even though they have so much experience when it comes to matters political issues. They're doing nothing. But these leaders who are just emerging from Africa and doing amazing job in Africa, we are recognizing them, and it's part of our duty to recognize them. So look at what President Duma Boko of Burkina Faso is doing. Amazing job. Okay, so go to Namibia. Even though the president of Namibia, the lady is not that much young, but she is doing an amazing job. So lately, if I'm not wrong, 1 week ago, there's a cooperation between Burkina Faso and Botswana when it comes to minerals, how the minerals should be managed. And also we have cooperations between Namibia and the Botswana's government on how to make the people of those countries, the living standards, at least to improve. So this is what Joshua Maponga is talking about, that Africa, we need leaders who work, as simple as that. Leaders who are energetic. And that's why in one of Maponga's speech, he was talking about Traoré being a good dictator, and he emphasized the fact that Africa need dictators like Traoré. Why? You see, the main reason why we normally call Traoré a dictator is because, number one, he was not democratically elected according to the Africa Union Charter. He was not democratically elected. So that's why he's being dubbed as a dictator. So even though he's a dictator, he's a good dictator. And let me tell you one thing. This initiative that he has started, repatriating Africans from the America to come to Burkina Faso and invest in Burkina Faso, this is a good thing. And Maponga himself has just applauded that and said that, hey, look, in the next 2 to 3 months, we'll be going to Burkina Faso to welcome those Africans who are coming back to the continent to build the continent. They are coming, they are bringing their expertise, they are bringing their money, they are bringing their knowledge, and they are bringing themselves to the mother continent because they want to unite with fellow Africans. So these are some of the things that we as Africans should be doing at the moment. And I'm glad that Africans of goodwill, both in Africa and both in the diaspora, they are beginning to speak the same language, that Africa has to unite and has to unite immediately. That being said, even though these leaders, sometimes they are being dubbed as dictators, we have to embrace what they are doing. Look, for example, in January 2026, there was a coup attempt in Burkina Faso that Traoré was to be removed because he is a dictator. What happened? People came to the streets, protested in solidarity to stand with Traoré, even though he's being called a dictator. So if you do things right, the electorate or the people or the citizen within your country, they will always support you. And this has been shown by what we are seeing in Burkina Faso. That look, he's a dictator, but he is our dictator. He's doing what we want. And lately again, he also abolished political parties because he thought that political parties, they are a hindrance block towards the Burkina Faso success. So these are the things that we need to hear, that more Africans from the diaspora, they are coming back to the continent to invest into the continent, to bring their expertise into the continent. And at the end of the day, Africa will be great. As I usually say, that Africa will be great. Africa must be great. And this thing is going to be done as soon as possible. So our work and our job is to speak about it, educate those Africans who are in the African and Africans who are in diaspora, that we have to unite as a continent. We have to trade amongst ourselves. There must be a removal of tariffs and non-tariffs barriers for Africa to trade amongst itself. So thank you for showing up. See you next time. Bye-bye.